What's happening, everyone? Welcome to another segment of Corner Table Talk, Food Plus Drink Plus Culture. And I invite you to stick around after the program. My dear friend, the lovely Ambassador Shabazz, will join us and recap the conversation with our guest and also share some little tidbits that she's been up to. So please stick around for how we move. So Jeff Friday is a highly accomplished media executive. Entrepreneur, investor. I know Jeff from his many years of producing the American Black Film Festival. We go back to the 90s when he first began, and I've watched Jeff that whole time grow this thing into something that is that has the entire industry's attention. And we're going to talk a little bit, or actually a lot about that today. I want to get into how Jeff kind of found his way into the movie business that way. Very kind of interesting path he took. His company was formerly known as ABFF Ventures. It's now Nice Crowd, and they specialize in the development and marketing of festivals, live experiences that showcase BIPOC culture and achievement while promoting travel to leading destinations around the world. Jeff is a graduate of Howard University with an MBA from NYU's very prestigious School of Business that honored him with their Global Trailblazer Award for Entrepreneurial Innovation. He has a passion for storytelling. He has received numerous acknowledgments, including Hollywood Power Brokers Top 50 from Black Enterprise. He's got keys to various cities. Jeff is a major player. His wife is also someone who joins him in business. He works with his spouse, which we'll talk a little bit about. But I'm really just pleased that Jeff has taken the time. He's got his 28th annual Black Film Festival coming up in Miami. So he's kind enough to spend a few minutes with us here today. My man, Jeff Friday. Jeff, what's happening, brother?
Honored to be with you, man. I miss you. And I have to tell you something really quickly before we get going. We go back further than you think. So when you had the Cellar in New York, I was the guy looking at you going, I want to be like him. So I've been admiring you from afar for many, many years, brother. And as an entrepreneur and what you and your dad did in New York, it hasn't been replicated since. So do know that you got somebody here that's been trying to walk in your footsteps, man.
Oh, man, that's really kind of you, Jeff. Thank you for that, brother. I appreciate that, man. Well, it's a mutual admiration society that we have here, man. So you know how I feel about you and what you've done. So, man, we kick things off here with what I call our short order questions. So I'm going to just fire a few of those at you and let's get rolling. So what are you listening to musically, Jeff? What's in your earbuds?
Sade stays in it. She's my great equalizer. For me, one of the greatest artists of all time that we don't talk about enough. New artist, I would say Ray Khalil. She's a new R&B hip hop artist. Anderson .Paak's camp, super dope. You know, if Sade and Missy had a baby, it would be it would be Ray Khalil. Not many people know her yet, but super great sound and just very, very good.
Yeah. I hear you on Sade, man. I mean, just timeless, and everything that she did from first cut to last, man. You can just let it play, man. Yeah, I'm with you. Incredible, man. So I'm gonna put you on the spot here, brother. What's the best part about working with your spouse? Your lovely wife.
The best part about working with your spouse is that you guys are on the same side of the field. So anytime it's a partnership, but often partnerships don't really work or challenge because of competing interests. The number one thing about working with your wife is when you win, she wins. So you guys are in a sports analogy, you guys are both on the same side of the field. And there's no other partnership like that. There's usually what benefits one person might be to the detriment of the other. Simple question. Mm-hmm. And you got somebody rolling with you every day.
Yeah,
and you don't
I'm
have
with
to
you,
wonder
man.
what their intentions are. You win together. And you lose together.
I'm right there with you.
It's a motivation.
Yep. The thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, all under one roof. I work with my wife, man, and she changed the trajectory of my career for the better, man. So I'm totally in that camp. All right. So last one of these. Favorite LA restaurant when you and Nicole decide on the rare occasion you have a night off and you want to go out to dinner?
My favorite thing to do is Malibu, is the beach. Like we do once a quarter, we do a dinner on the beach. We create
Mm.
our own vibe. We bring the basket, we bring the candles, and so I love a restaurant. But our favorite thing to do is something where the two of us. She's a chef as well, so she cooks better than everybody that we that we patronize.
Now
Honey, and stuff.
that's a Jeff Friday answer right there for you. I was thinking maybe you would bust out Nobu, but no, Jeff Friday, man.
No, no, come on, come on. I'm also going to give you the black owned answer too. So
My
promoting the
man.
restaurant. Listen, I love
Yeah.
a lot of places, but the intimate
No,
moments
I
are our
got you,
favorite
man.
moments.
I got you.
Now, I would have said Georgia. So if you had asked me, also one of my
Yeah, that
favorites
was a
of all
good time
time.
in
So,
LA. Very good period then, man.
oh,
For
best,
sure. Yep.
best
Yep.
time ever.
So let's jump in here. Again, thank you, man. 28 years doing this, Jeff. I mean, what an accomplishment. This year's event, again, taking place in Miami. It has been here, I think, since 2002. Um, at this
Yes.
point, it's well known. You co-founded the Acapulco Black Film Festival in '97, I believe, and took full control, and then relocated to Miami in 2002. So let me ask you, just going back, man, when did you first become fascinated with movies?
For me, it wasn't movie. I always say this, and people are shocked. My incentive was really not about movies. It's about entrepreneurship and a community. I don't love movies as much as people think I do. What I do love is I love black people. I love black culture. I love empowering black people. So what the best thing about this particular event that we own is that people come to the event in one place and they leave more empowered than they
Mm.
were when they come to it. You go to a concert. Concerts don't really they entertain you. Beyonce concert, nothing better than a Beyonce show. You leave, you have a great time. But I wouldn't say they empower you. So what we're trying to do is we want you to come, be entertained, and be empowered. And that's the reason. And Brad, I don't know if I told you, but I went to Sundance in 1997 for the very first time to see Love
Of
Jones.
course.
Remember Love,
Yeah.
Nia Long and Lorraine? And Love Jones was the only black movie at Sundance in 1997. But it was an amazing event. Primarily white men were there having a
I
great,
was going to
yeah.
say, you're probably the only brother in the audience.
No, I was one of myself and the brother who directed
Ted
Love
Witcher.
Jones,
Yeah.
Ted Witcher. But it was Ted Witcher, but it was very few women at that time. It was primarily a retreat for white males in the
Hmm.
film industry. And I just said to myself, where's the diversity? Where's the people of color? Can we do one like this? And I went back to Byron Lewis, who was my mentor in New York, and my co-founders, Byron and Warrington Hutland, who you know well. And we concocted this idea of doing a Black Sundance based on this trip that I
Hmm.
had taken. Now, I have to say, Sundance is very diverse today, and they do a wonderful job. But the 1997 version wasn't so diverse, and that's how the whole thing started. It started in reaction to a trip I took to Sundance.
Yeah, Jeff, that's really interesting, man. And I want to come back to the issue of diversity. Obviously, it's a hot topic, continues to be, and maybe one that's gotten since we had a moment there in 2020 where it looked like things were changing, and now maybe that it's dialing back a little bit. But we'll come back to that. I'm curious, why Miami?
Well, Miami Beach. So we did 5 years in Acapulco, and the challenge was media. We were having a hard time getting notice from major media, particularly industry
Mhm.
trade publications, and also sponsor. What drives a festival or any live event is ticket sales and corporate sponsorship. And so corporations who are trying to reach diverse populations didn't have the wherewithal to sponsor an event outside the country. So the primary reason we moved back is to attract sponsors and to attract media. And Miami Beach happened to be the closest thing. If you think about Acapulco, the first 5 years were in Acapulco. Miami Beach was the closest thing. Sand, sea, sexy, great shopping, great hotels, great culinary scene. So really, we wanted to replicate Acapulco stateside, and we had one choice. It
Right,
wasn't Vegas and it
right.
wasn't New York. It was Miami. It
Yeah.
was Miami Beach. It's frankly why we've been there since 20,
Yeah, now I
2002. Yeah.
noticed that you have keys to both Miami and Miami Beach. So this next question may be an obvious answer, but how hospitable has the city been?
They have been very hospitable. I think in the earlier years they didn't really understand the
Mhm.
power of it. But 50 million media impressions a year that we bring to the region, 10,000 people. I'm not sure what the economic power impact of the 10,000 people, but it's not a
Right.
cheap festival, right? The hotels are expensive. The air is expensive. So we probably bring 20, $30 million over 4 days and 5 million media impressions and all the big stars in Hollywood. So, I think it took them a while to understand that this wasn't just a
Hmm.
black thing, a small
Hmm.
black fest, and the global reach of the brand. Now 20% of our audience comes from
Wow.
outside the US. We got brothers and sisters from Kenya and London and UK and Paris coming in. We had a contingency from South Africa last year. So this is really a global black event that comes to Miami Beach every year. And we also have events outside the beach in
Hmm.
Miami proper. So to answer your question, Brad, they've been very hospitable and the relationship
Great
is
to
very
hear, man.
sound.
So for someone attending
Hmm.
for the first time, Jeff, what should they expect?
It's a festival, man. It's film screenings, panel discussions, parties, workshops, master classes, and we try to program. We say it's the only festival that's a true hybrid between people in the industry and people who
Mm,
who are not. So if you're an accountant and you just love movies, love Kerry Washington, she'll be there. So there are things for people who are just fans of movies, but also if you're in the industry, it's the perfect place to be because all of your peers are there. We have about 30 sponsors and all the major network support. So everyone from the production exec from HBO to a marketing exec at Amazon, to a exec at Netflix. So really, we bring the entire industry into Miami Beach, and like I said, most festivals of our type are
right.
specifically industry festivals. If you're not in the industry, it's really not a lot for you to do. We purposely curated this thing to be
Yeah,
right
man.
down the middle.
I'm feeling that.
So I say it's
Yep.
something for everyone there.
So, before we move on, someone wants to purchase tickets. We're going to turn this podcast around quickly, Jeff, to get it out before the festival.
Okay.
Is it sold out? Are tickets still available? Where do they go to purchase?
Tickets are available at ABFF.com. The good news for us is it's almost sold out through May 31st. There will be very limited tickets on sale at the festival starting June 12th. And our home base is the Miami Beach Convention Center. So you can either buy them in advance on ABFF.com or buy them on site at the Miami
Gotcha.
Beach
Thank you.
Convention Center.
So you touched on this a
Yeah.
little bit, man, but I want to come back to it because I really just dig that, so many folks go to Hollywood with dreams of becoming, talent or the actors and getting involved in the film industry, producers, it's kind of a path that, prior to the unions really getting involved, you could put your name on a business card and you're a film producer, right? And chase that dream around for a while until you get exhausted. You chose a different path, man, and I know that you said you have a love for
Yeah.
Black culture, and that's clear. But just tell me, give us a little bit of insight, Jeff. What was it that made you say, "You know what? I see this lane. I see the lane of being the supporter of Black media, Black movies." What was that light bulb moment for you, man?
That's the best question ever for me. I'm an activist with a artistic mask on, right? I am very disturbed by the lack of respect that we get as a culture. I'm very disturbed by how few things we own. I'm very disturbed by how few final decisions we make. And if you know anything about Hollywood, the reason you're producing around for 20 years is because the final decision makers were all the same five guys. I know them. I've met them. They're five men primarily. There might be a lady or two in the mix that make every final decision in Hollywood. And I decided, Brad, that I could not help our community getting in that line. I do not want to be in the line of people waiting for those five guys to tell me what I can make, what's valid, what's funny. I've had Robert Townsend did a film called Hollywood Shuffle about 35 years ago, and Hollywood's
Wow.
still shuffling. Watch that
Wow.
movie, you'll laugh. It's the same
Wow.
thing. The only thing different about there was no social media in that era, but Hollywood it's the same song and dance. So I decided early on, and thankfully the light bulb went off for me before I got too old that I can't impact this industry bending that line. So I wanted to make sure I was always out of the line. And what that meant was I was the final decision maker in what I do. And I also didn't want to compete with my people because it's enough of us who have film. I've produced 10 movies and I financed probably 40 movies, but I also didn't want to be enough. I wanted to support the industry. And when you look at our culture, not many people are facilitating other
Mhm,
people's careers. We're all kind of
mhm.
chasing our own. And even our most successful people, and I won't call out anybody on the show, but even our most successful people, in my humble opinion, are not doing enough to facilitate others. And I just decided I wanted my legacy to be the guy who helped everybody out. You know, we say, Nicole and I say, we help people who deserve help. That's how we decided. And Ryan Coogler, when we met him in 2011 at ABFF, he deserved help. And Will Packer and a bunch, Issa Rae and others who are doing really well now. And we didn't create them. We're not taking any credit for their talent. We just helped them to different degrees. And we've helped thousands of filmmakers through this vehicle called the American Black Film Festival. And it's just been an honor to, and nothing feels better, brother, than to help people, particularly when you love your people. Nothing, and you can help more than your family. You know, they become your family. So we created this family of filmmakers and writers and producers, and it's a wonderful feeling. I'm actually high off it, to be very honest with you. The fact that we've been able to sustain this for this for almost
I
30
feel
years.
that, man. You're such a smart guy, Jeff. I just got to give you props, man. I mean, that to me really showed, looking at the field and knowing what you love, knowing your passion, and figuring out the best way to support it.
There's no degree that you get to be
Right.
successful with Hollywood. PhD won't help you. Doesn't help you. It's something else. It's access and charisma, but yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Taste.
taste. But you can't degree us. You can't create a degree. There's no degree to be a
No.
studio head.
But it does
So
not hurt to
that's
have
my
the
story.
intellect, Jeff. And as a finance major from Howard U, as a MBA from NYU, a prestigious school, difficult to get into, you obviously have some brain power working to your advantage, man. So I do want to bring
Thank you.
that in.
I appreciate it.
Last
Thank
year,
you.
man, it's just so interesting, or year before, I had been on a conversation with Karen Horn of Warner Brothers, and we were talking about an idea, and she was in a position there where she was in charge of DEI. And then not too long after that, four sisters happened to lose their jobs that were all representing, DEI at various companies. And you said something, man, a couple of quotes of yours that really stood out to me, and I wanted to visit those in relationship to DEI, but also to let me read the quotes and we'll talk about them. You said, "The only thing standing between us," meaning the Black community, people of color, "and success is opportunity and access." And then I'm going to read a little bit longer quote and come to my question, which is a two-part question. You said, "The Black experience is an integral part of American culture, and the universal appeal of Black stories is becoming more apparent as African Americans make substantial inroads into the motion picture industry. As we look to the future, it is our goal to not only support Black filmmakers, but to promote their work for everyone's enjoyment. The ABFF is committed to broadening the mainstream embrace of Black culture, to have as great an impact through cinema as we have had through music, fashion, and sports." So, Jeff, there's a lot there to me, man. And, as someone who I moved to LA in '89, so my proximity to Hollywood has been that close, just in terms of being located geographically where a lot was going on in the late '80s, '90s, 2000s, friends in the business, friends like you, who I watch up close and see what happens. I also analogize often where the restaurant, my career, the food industry goes in parallel to some of the other industries that have made inroads. But relative to what you
Mhm.
said there, the access question, why has Black cinema lagged behind music, fashion, and sports?
I think it's a consumption issue. So music impacts you visually, and you don't. If a beat sounds great, you relate to it. It doesn't speak to you the way the film does. I think that when people, for whatever reason, when people look at movies, because it's story driven, they relate to the story enough. So I think part of it's just this innate thing that we respond to music because it's a blind enjoyment. That's the reason a show like The Voice is an interesting concept, because you're just listening, you're not looking at the person. It takes away
Mhm.
bias. So music has that kind of thing. I think in film because you're looking at it, it creates an instant bias about who you don't, who's cute, who's not, what you relate to. I think that's inherent in film. But I think the other thing is how Hollywood has marketed film. Hollywood decided many years ago that Black films don't play for white people, that Black films don't travel. None of that is true. And I really think it's one of these self fulfilling prophecies where Hollywood decided that Black films don't play.
There's no
40s,
value overseas
all
for
over the
black
world.
film. We can't pre-sell it, so we can't
And
finance the movies. Yeah.
I think Hollywood has just decided, and I
Mhm,
don't know the reasons. You have to ask
mhm.
those six guys, but I think that Hollywood just decided that they were not going to make a global commitment to black cinema unless a mainstream star kind of evolved from it. So if it's centered around a main, that's kind of that's not really black cinema anymore,
Right.
you know. And what I'm really most curious, frustrated by is we started ABFF in the '90s. In the '90s was what I call the golden era of
Mhm.
black movies. Love Jones, Spike Lee movies, and my brother John Singleton, and Boys in the Hood, and the Huge Brothers, and how Stella Got a Groove Back. And that's really where we fell in love. And what we've seen is that
Mhm.
era's gone away. When's the last time you've gone to a theater to see a black film? And there are a lot of reasons, but I think Hollywood is
Mhm.
perpetuating this. Short answer is Hollywood is
Mhm.
perpetuating this. There's no justification why black films can't be more global films, can't be bigger
Yeah.
films. You know, budgets make bigger films. Bigger stars, bigger production, bigger marketing budgets typically
So
make
Jeff, that
bigger
leads
movies.
to my next question. Your thoughts on the state of black cinema 2024. I mean, we've got Ava DuVernay doing fantastic things. Issa, as you mentioned, Denzel still doing his thing. I mean, we have our stars, we have our filmmakers. What's your take on 2024 black cinema?
Yeah, I think black cinema overall is a bit in trouble. I think it's going to be challenging. A couple of things have happened. The streamers have taken away the theatrical business. No one talks about going to the movies anymore. I don't think that's good for movies. It's good for streamers, the ones that win, but not really good for movies. I think this shift away from diversity is affecting the black movies you see. Most studios are thinking are run by stockholders now, and they're looking at home runs versus Love Jones is a
Mhm.
single, you know. Transformers,
Right.
is a home
Black
run.
Panther,
So I
home
think that
run.
studios,
Yeah, right.
Black Panther's a home run. Big tentpole movies. If you look at the types of movies, it's really movies that play to the global movies of what studios are spending their time and energy on. So the idea of niche cinema is really going away, and I think it's really contracting the opportunities. When's the last time a young black filmmaker? Ava's been
Mhm.
around for a minute, and Denzel, he is our biggest star. But I'm talking about people
Right.
that are not those. When is the last time that we really introduced a new filmmaker the way Spike Lee hit the scene? Or remember Matty Rich and all those?
What a
I mean,
time.
come
Yeah.
on. You know, the appetite is there. The studio system has just shifted away from those types of pictures. Now you just don't get those types of movies. Soul Food. I mean, that was we listen. It was a part of these are African American movies, and we grew up on these movies,
Yeah.
and they're gone.
I remember when Spike came out with Do the Right Thing and it opened in '89 at Lincoln Center Cinema. Jeff, the entire movie theater was us, all about the same age. I had never been in a movie theater that had that audience, man, and it just felt like a real cultural moment, man. I mean, I get a little chill right now thinking about that because it was didn't think at the time it was gonna be unique in that it was fleeting. But to your point, man, I can't remember now the last I went to see American Fiction in a mixed room. It was a good movie, but not the same feeling of watching a culture kind of come alive in a certain medium that we hadn't been in.
And it was about 20 in the '90s. We tracked it. There were about 20 movies of that nature a year in 1990, throughout the '90s. And now, if we get two or three, we're doing so. So it's the shift. Hollywood is essentially the business models change, and these niche movies just don't fit to
Right.
the model anymore.
So turning to
You know,
ABFF 2024, I know Denzel's coming, man. Excited to see him there. You got panels going on. What do you got D doing, man? What's D going to
yeah.
be doing? What's some of the subjects on the panels? What are you looking forward to?
Well, I'm so excited about him because particularly because he hasn't. He was there, and I teased him last time I talked to him. He was there. He came the second year in 1998, and the first year at Acapulco there were 90 people,
Uh-huh.
90. And then Denzel Washington showed up year two, and we went from 90 to 800.
And he has that effect, I've heard.
So, so, so I really do
Yeah.
credit the growth
Yeah.
to him.
Nothing
But
nothing you've been
awesome to
doing, my
have
man. No.
nothing. No,
Yeah.
this is all about Denzel Washington. But the buzz has been great. So this year we decided to do something we haven't done, which is called a retrospective. So throughout the week, we'll be showing his films, and then it's going to culminate with an onstage conversation with him. And we're I can't tell you, I don't want to tease it, but we're doing something
Okay.
really special. And so this is the first annual ABFF retrospective celebrating the legacy of Denzel Washington. So I can't be more
Oh,
excited
man.
about that, man. And like I said, no one's more cool, no one's more deserving. Um, Integrity. He's everything we want our
Yep.
black actors to
Yep.
be.
Yep.
We have super excited. We also have Kerry
Mhm.
Washington coming. Issa Rae, as I mentioned earlier, Issa Rae was one of the young artists that we supported, 10 years ago or so. She is now our new creative director for
Wow.
our company. So she is on staff and rolling up the sleeves. And, again, it's about recirculating these generations. And so we really got a great lineup of
Man,
things
that's
happening.
so exciting. I love to
Yeah,
see
man.
this evolution, Jeff. You're getting everything that you deserve with having supported black film, black filmmakers, black talent. I mean, the hand that you have had in so many careers in direct and indirect ways by continuing to prop up the industry like you have, man. I'm so glad to see that this is coming around for you this way, brother. I really am, man. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you, man.
So,
Thank you.
before I let you go, I do want to touch on the idea of event tourism. And you describe the company, Nice Crowd, as doing these live experiences and event travel, to interesting destinations around the world. And this idea of black leisure was introduced to me a year or so ago by a sister who's a black historian in LA, and she did a study on black leisure that went back and studied California back in the 30s and 40s and where we were able to go and have our fun. And it's such an important part of life, right? I mean, we're entitled
It
to
is.
enjoy ourselves, man, and the spaces that we go and where
Absolutely.
we decide we want to go. So I'm curious, man, what are you looking to do as you expand into the health and wellness space? I'm sure Nicole has some view into that and some things she's doing. You mentioned her culinary
Mhm.
abilities, but what are you thinking about in that way, Jeff?
Yeah. Again, I think that the black leisure space is a huge opportunity, untapped market, and the one nuance for us is black people not only deserve or are entitled to travel, but we enjoy traveling with each other, and that's what we've discovered from our events. So the expansion and the rebrand from ABFF to Nice Crowd really is to support our expansion into other themes, into other tentpoles. So the ABFF will be our film fest. I don't know if I mentioned we launched we have an ABFF London in the UK in September. So we have a film festival in Miami. We have one in London. We launched a comedy festival called Because They're Funny in DC last year. We're launching in 2025. We're launching an art fair, looking for a city, and a wellness festival called Pace. And the reason that we partner with the destinations are your best partners because, Brad, economically, no one benefits from us bringing 10,000 people more
That's
than the
right.
destination. So our business model is create an idea, galvanize Black people around group travel, and then find a destination to serve as kind of the base camp or to host it. So our partnership is with the place. So hopefully we'll be in about 4 different countries across 5 types of events by the end of 2025. Also looking at South Africa for an ABFF South Africa next year.
Brother, again, man, I mean, you probably get tired of me saying this, man. I'm so proud of you, Jeff, and what you've been able to do,
Listen,
man.
man.
And it's just incredible, man. You deserve all the success that's
Yeah.
coming your way. I'm looking forward to see. I'm going to be at the festival in Miami.
Yes, we're
Yeah,
gonna
you
have a
know
drink,
it,
I
man,
hope.
without a doubt, or a drink or two. Anyway, Jeff
Yeah,
Friday,
yeah.
man, you're just the best, brother. Keep celebrating the culture, keep
Thank
propping
you.
us up, and everything that's good coming your way, you've so worked hard for and you deserve, man. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it,
Thank
brother.
you. Thank you, Brad. I
Good to see you.
appreciate you, man.
Boy, do I love seeing her face. Here we are. How we move. Yeah, you. Ambassador Shabazz,
And
what's
yours
going
too. I just
on?
said to someone the other day, I said, no matter how tired or much I'm running down, this is like our little family time to like connect the dots and check in with each other face to face.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I look forward to it. So, Jeff Friday, give me your thoughts.
Wow. I mean, First of all, it's something to always to think you know someone or to know them in the context in which you first hear about them. So, you know, listening to him speak about the background of him knowing you in advance of who he has become in this public context is really wonderful because it means it matters how you live every day because you never know who's watching, who-
That's
who's
so true. Yeah.
inspired. Um,
You just better treat
that's
people well,
basic
period.
all the time,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's what's really, I think, foundationally important because it seems to be the theme of what moves him as well. So it's not merely the event, it's the engagement and being able to move the needle. And him watching your father and you as a pair, I think most of us that grew up in New York knew that match as well, no matter the dynamics of the circumstances. So when I listened to, well, first of all, of course, I heard about the Acapulco Film Festival when it happened, when it started. There was nothing like it that was signature, and also that was close enough to Hollywood, but not. So it wasn't governed by Hollywood, though it included Hollywood. It was a really great twist,
Mhm.
right? And a way an artery
Mhm.
gets to discover its own life, its own lifeline. And it's wonderful that so many decades have passed since then. And with the growth, the things that stood out for me were words that he used like impact, empowerment,
Mhm.
facilitator, supporter. We can still win without having to be in the front, right? People always think they have to run to be the one that's signature, the one where the light is on, but the power in being able to support others, to I mean, that's what I know. I mean, I kind of, for the most part, live in the wings of things, but inspired, a gazillion percent to watch it manifest, and that's kind of also learning that he was from Newark. I keep bumping into more folks from Newark. There's a way that Newarkans say it. They don't say Newark. They say
Newark.
Newark. Yeah, right.
Newark.
No,
Newark. I
it kind
caught that. I caught
yeah.
that
No,
too.
it's the way they say it that I get to hear their like homestead, right?
Yeah.
And me being involved in Newark now for the last, I mean, strongly, directly, uh, by
Mhm.
contract, the last 4 years, there's so much life waiting to be manifested, right? It's there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
How many Jeff
huh?
Fridays?
Well,
How
so
many
so
Jeff
many,
Fridays are
right?
there,
Because
you know?
when I'm working,
Yeah.
you'll hear about the statistics of high school students, but when I'm working with them one-on-one or on a project, oh my God, they're full of light. That's what I just came back from. 5
Yeah.
days of students volunteering and being 100% on board, and then emailing and saying, "Anytime, ma'am," you know, wanting to be in. And so when he referenced towards the end, this yearning that had not been exampled, but ever present. But then he gets to fill it in. He gets to showcase what
Right.
that's like. I loved listening to this
Right.
interview. And of course, when he started talking about event tourism, and Black leisure, which existed for a while. I mean, this is generational, but we need to be able to thread and present the stories and showcase that we too are a part of that which matters.
Yeah, and I think impressing upon all of us the need and the right to leisure.
Well,
It's we live once here that
yes.
we know about, and in this life, we all work hard, and our families and our ancestors have worked
Yeah.
hard, and leisure is an opportunity to explore culture, friendship, what have you. And this is just so right up your alley with
Yeah.
everything that
The
you're doing
fulfillment,
from the states
yeah,
to
the
Belize, quite
Morocco. I
frankly.
mean, wherever I've been in the world, it's like you discover an extension of yourself that is no longer caged by presumption, and leisure is one of those natural entitlements, preservational self, wellness self, joy, enjoyment, sharing with your people, whomever your people are, however you call leisure.
Mhm.
And some years ago, 20 years ago, when I first met a dignitary in Belize, he had said to me, where is the Black American disposable dollar? I said, well, first mistake. is presuming that you can say disposable and dollar in the same. Now, if you want us to spend some money, if you want us to spend time,
Yeah,
but because the way we're
yeah,
wired, we can't throw
right,
away no money. Money is not disposable, but it can
right,
be invested, right? It can be invested. It can be
right,
planted like a seed, right? It can go towards something that is good, that grows, that can be cultivated and harvested and so forth. But disposable dollar was not a terminology.
right. It's an oxymoron.
Nobody wants to waste anything. We can't afford to waste
Yeah,
anything,
yeah,
but we could spend that
yeah.
time. And so it's really wonderful to hear the breadth of decades later for something that I remember had just started, we had embarked upon it. People trying to get their tickets to get down to Acapulco. Americans who had not had a
Right.
passport were trying to get ready
Mhm.
for something. And so to know that that engine is still in motion, that he and his wife are partners and best friends in that endeavor, that the friends um, that he started with are still in his life. What a wonderful story to tell. And we need more and more opportunities to hear those stories. So, like the young people in Newark when he was there, didn't know those stories, but they existed. We have to keep presenting them because they exist. Leisure exists, our
That's
strengths
right.
exist, our
That's
empowerment
right.
exists, our contributions
That's right.
exist, our masterfulness
Yeah,
exists. So we just have to have the
yeah,
pipeline to share it.
yeah. And I know you just came from Newark and, involved with the school system there as you are. And, I do want to acknowledge that this year, 2024, our dads were born the same. They have the same birth year, 1925. And our fathers would have been
I know.
99. Your dad's birthday would have been this past weekend. And I just wanted to
Well,
acknowledge
thank
that
you.
you're doing so much good in the world, and you're an amazing individual, and the love that you give and share with people, the moment they see you walk in the door, it feels like their life
Well, thank you
changes.
for saying that. I have to say, I now limp into doors and limp out. But when you wonder if the time put in matters based on the stamina that is waning, and you get to see someone cross that finish line, there is nothing more glorious. Oh my God. Because I'm a wreck right now. Everything's swollen, you know. So, but I went to bed last night with a grin, you know. So and then we have another month or so to go for many young people to graduate, at Malcolm X Shabazz STEM Academy High School in Newark. You have 82 seniors, 71 whom already have chosen a college, another round that are involved in programs and trade, and about 4 who are undecided, and we're working on it, but they want to work on it, right? So that
Yeah,
is what we're
yeah,
working for. And for my father's 100th birthday, my campaign is just 100% for 100 years. 100%. That's the goal. That's the aim. We don't strive for less, uh, no matter
that's
what.
right. We're
So
going for
awesome.
100. Ambassador
Thank you.
Shabazz, love how you
Happy
move.
moving.
Good to see you, my dear.